So make sure that the quotes that you get match the invoices that you get, which then matches the general ledger. I guarantee you it's going to save you thousands and thousands of dollars if you look at these every single month. And it's going to make sure that your property is performing on the budget that you projected. Hey everyone, Michael here from Adventurous Real Estate Investors. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about property financials and what to look for each and every month that you get them from your property management company. But before I begin, we are at the Framley Ham Castle, which is in East Anglia on the east side of England, which is really cool. And a fun fact about this place is it's actually owned at some point by the uncle of Anne Boleyn, right? That was King Henry VIII's second wife, which then he shortly thereafter chopped her head off, right? Because she wasn't producing a male heir. If you want to learn more about Henry VIII and England's history, you can feel free to Google it. But anyways, let's get into the video. So I'm going to talk to you about what to review and what to look for each and every single month in your property financials. Reviewing your property's financials is huge, and you need to really pay attention to detail while you're reviewing your financials, right? So the first thing you want to look at is your income. You need to look at what the rents are at, if they're reaching pro forma, what your loss to lease is, what your concessions are, everything that has to do with income as well as other income. So look at all that, go through the detail of the income and make sure that it's at what you want it to be at, right? The next thing you need to look at are expenses. This is the next biggest thing. So look at your admin expenses, your payroll expenses. You're gonna look at your maintenance and your other expenses, all those variable costs. Make sure that they are performing at a level which you think is appropriate for your property. Make sure that your property management company isn't overcharging you for certain things or buying random equipment that you don't need, right? And additionally, after that, so those are all the items that are above the line, right? So those are all the ones, when I say above the line, I mean that play a factor in your net operating income, right? Next thing you want to look at is your CapEx items and how those items are coded in your financials. When I talk about that, you need to look at what is put above the line and what is put below the line. In our properties, what I really look for is whether or not something's being replaced or if something's being repaired, right? If it's being replaced and it was in our business plan, then most likely it's going to be a CapEx item that is below the line, right? So it's not counted in the net operating income because you raise capital expenditure funds to cover those items. While when it's a repair, like painting or repairing an AC unit or something like that, those repairs need to go above the line because they need to be included in the general maintenance of the property, and they have a factor on the net operating income of the property. Okay, so you need to look at each individual line item and make sure that those things are coded properly. When you look at those, you're going to be looking through the general ledger. Yes, the general ledger is probably going to be maybe 100 pages or longer, depending on the size of the property and what is going on at your property. So yes, it's going to take hours and hours to do this. However, this is very important. You need to look at the general ledger, and you also need to look at the invoices on the property and make sure that those match up. So when you're looking at that, we found that sometimes invoices, when they're transferred over into the general ledger, sometimes there's a typo, or sometimes there's a typo in the invoice, right? If you got a quote from a vendor that said like 1,068 and then you got an invoice for 1,086, hey, that's only a $20 difference and it might not really matter in the long run. However, compounded over time, those are going to add up, right? That could be thousands or tens of thousands of dollars over the 5-year or 7-year life of the deal, right? So make sure that the quotes that you get match the invoices that you get, which then matches the general ledger. Okay. Yes, it is a tedious process, but I guarantee you it's going to save you thousands and thousands of dollars if you look at these every single month. And it's going to make sure that your property is performing on budget, on the budget that you projected. Additionally, what Suzy and I do for our asset management of our properties is we build a spreadsheet, and in that spreadsheet we have all the units listed there. And in all the units, we tie all the general ledger items and the invoices potentially to those specific units. So in that spreadsheet, say we have unit 100. Unit 100 got new countertops, it got new lightings, it got new cabinets and things like that. We'll put all that in there, and we'll also have the cost next to it. And then obviously in the column, which lines up to that specific month. So then we know exactly how much we're spending on each unit, whether that is a unit turn or a complete reno for that unit. So then we have an idea, okay, are we actually spending at the rate we need to spend? Or do we need to dial it back a little bit? Maybe not, put fancy lighting fixtures in there, maybe dial it back a little bit more to make sure that we are on budget to reach our targeted projections. And the last thing we do after we look at the general ledger and things like that, we take in the property financials, we take all that information and we put it in another spreadsheet. And in this spreadsheet is our variance spreadsheet, our cash flow spreadsheet. So I have in this spreadsheet our yearly budget, our end of year budget, and then I have it broken down month by month, right? So January through December, how much we need to be spending or how much income we need to have, what our expenses need to be at, and then also what NOI we're trying to target. And in there, to a column just to the right of that, I'll put in what the income and expenses are for that specific month, right? So the actuals. So I have our projections and our actuals right next to each other. And then the next column after that, then I have the variance, the difference between the two, right? To see whether or not we are performing on our projected performance, right? So that's very important because now you can use that information to communicate to your investors. The information that Suzy and I communicate to our investors on a monthly basis. We make sure that we are sharing what the actuals are, what our projections are, and then the differences between the two to make sure that we are on budget, we are on schedule to reach the projected returns that we sought out at the very beginning of the offer. So if you liked the content in this video, go ahead and smash that like button below, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to ring that bell so you can be notified when we release new content 3 times a week. All right, guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, explore more, adventure awaits.